So this is our topic about parabola with vertex at 0, 0 or point of origin. And this time, we will be discussing parabola that opens upward with the given standard equation x squared equals 4ay. So as you can see in our diagram, the parabola opens upward with vertex at 0, 0. So this is the vertex of our parabola with vertex at 0, 0 or point of origin. That is the intersection of our x-axis and y-axis. So this is the point of origin. Now, if the parabola opens upward and its vertex is at 0, 0, therefore, its standard equation is x squared equals 4ay. So, lagi niyo tatandaan na yan lang ang standard equation ng parabola that opens upward and the vertex is at 0, 0. Now, this a here should be calculated because this will give us the idea of how far the vertex is from the focus, or the other way around, how far the focus is from the vertex. And always remember that focus is always inside the curve of the parabola. So in this case, if our parabola opens upward and its vertex is at 0, 0, that means our focus should lie along the positive y-axis with the distance equal to a. So coming from the vertex, it goes upward along the positive y-axis with the distance equal to a. So mararating na natin yung point ng focus. So this is now our focus along the positive y-axis with the distance of a from the vertex. Now, we also have this what we call the Lattice Rectum. It is an imaginary line formed between which is perpendicular to the y-axis and from the point of focus. So makakabuo tayo ng perpendicular line, imaginary. Now, this line will intersects the parabola, the curve itself, in 2 points. This point as well as this point. And these are now what we call the endpoints of Lattice Rectum. Lattice Rectum. From the focus up to one endpoint of the Lattice Rectum, let's say on the left endpoint of the Lattice Rectum, the distance between these 2 points is equal to 2a. And so, with the distance from focus up to the right endpoint of the Lattice Rectum is also equal to 2a. Lagi lang ninyong tatandaan yung mga value ng mga distances between points. For vertex and focus, it's always a. From focus to either of the endpoint of the Lattice Rectum, it's always 2a. Now, how do we get the coordinate of the focus? If the vertex is 0, 0, and you go up going to focus, that means gumalaw ang y-coordinate ng vertex. If our vertex is 0, 0, and then you go up towards the focus, so nagbagong coordinate sa vertex ay yung y-coordinate ng vertex. So therefore, our focus now would be equal to the x-coordinate remains the same, which is 0, and the value of a ng pagtaas mula vertex into f or to focus is the distance itself. This will be now the coordinates of our focus, that is 0 and a. So you have the vertex and the coordinates of our focus. So if our focus now is 0 and A, let us now determine the coordinates of the two endpoints of the lattice rectum. Now, isa-isahin natin. Let's begin with identifying the coordinates of the left endpoint of the lattice rectum, this one. So, start tayo ngayon, hindi na sa vertex, but we can now start identifying the coordinates starting from or beginning from the focus. Kasi siya yung align doon sa 2 endpoints ng lattice rectum. So from the focus, going to the left side towards the left endpoint of the lattice rectum, the movement is horizontal. So kung horizontal ang movement natin at nagsisimula tayo sa focus, that means it is the x-coordinate of our focus is the one that will change. Yung A natin, the y-coordinate, ay hindi nagbabago kasi vertically, hindi naman tayo gumalaw. Hindi tayo gumalaw pababa at hindi rin tayo gumalaw pataas. The movement involved is only going to the left. And that is horizontal, meaning ang mababago lang yung x-coordinate ni focus. So that means for this endpoint, let's say we call this LR1. LR1 pertains to first endpoint of the lattice rectum. So sabihin natin that is LR1. So what will be now the coordinates of LR1 or this left endpoint of the lattice rectum? From the focus 0A, this one, 0A, we move 2A with the distance of 2A to the left. So from 0, you move to the left. That means mag-subtract tayo. Kasi based on our number line, kapag tayo ay pupunta sa left, it's always negative. So that means instead of 0, this becomes now negative 2A. And the y-coordinate doesn't change. So this is now A. So that means the coordinates of this endpoint, the left endpoint of the lattice rectum, is negative 2A, A. While the coordinates of the right endpoint of our lattice rectum, coming from the focus, as you can see, the movement is horizontal towards right direction. So again, horizontal, ibig sabihin yung x-coordinate lang ang mababago. And this time, the movement is horizontally to the right, to the positive side of number line. So that means ang operation ay addition or positive. So kung kanina to the left ay negative 2A, ngayon naman with the distance of 2A positive kasi to the right. So that means the coordinate now of this endpoint, let's say we call this LR2 or the second endpoint of the lattice rectum, the coordinates now would be positive 2A and A. Now, let us now proceed with this what we call directrix. So directrix is always behind the curve of the parabola. So it is a line perpendicular to the major axis or axis of symmetry of parabola. By the way, what is axis of symmetry? So when we say axis of symmetry, it is the line that dissects the parabola. So in this case, if the opening is upward with vertex at 0, 0, ang line na nagdadissect sa ating parabola ay yung mismong y-axis. Okay, so y-axis is our axis of symmetry for this parabola. And so, this is our curve. Behind our curve and which is perpendicular to our axis of symmetry, doon natin matatagpuan si directrix. So directrix is also equal to A coming from the vertex. Kung si focus ay A ang distance niya coming from vertex, si directrix ganun din. So for a vertex, value of A, so from here, magkikreate tayo ng straight line and then make it a broken line because it is an imaginary line. A broken straight line with a distance of A from vertex, that is now our directrix. Since the distance is A and this is now at the negative y-axis, therefore the equation of our directrix would be equal to, this line has the equation of y equals negative A. So this is now what we call the equation of directrix. So that completes our coordinates and parts of the parabola that opens upward with vertex at 0, 0, and the standard equation is x squared equals 4ay. This time, let us now try to solve an example of parabola with vertex at point of origin or 0, 0, and it opens upward. So that means the standard equation is x squared equals 4ay. So let us now sketch the parabola given this standard equation x squared equals 4y. So this is our given, and then we're going to sketch the parabola given this equation, and then let us also determine the coordinates involved like vertex, focus, and points of the lattice rectum as well as the equation of the directrix of the parabola. So given this standard equation x squared equals 4y, this satisfies the standard equation x squared equals 4ay. So that means, based on our equation, this 4y is exactly the value of 4, which is the coefficient of y. So 4a is equal to 4. So we can now have the value a is equal to 1. Since this is our standard equation, that means the vertex is at 0, 0. So this is our x-axis, y-axis, point of origin, the intersection. This is now our vertex. Vertex 0, 0, or point of origin. Our A is equal to 1. So that means, since this is opening upward, that means the value of 1a from vertex to focus is going upward along the positive y-axis. So from vertex of 0, 0, we go up with the value of a1. So this is 1 unit. So this will be now our focus. So our focus now has the coordinate. Just like what we've said a while ago, the coordinate would be 0a. Kasi ang nagbago lang ay yung y coordinate ni vertex dahil gumalaw tayo vertically upward. So positive 1. So this is 0 and 1. So this is now the coordinates of our focus for this given standard equation. Now, mamaya na natin i-draw yung mismong curve after natin ma-determine yung mga necessary points like endpoints of the lattice rectum. So, as you can see, from vertex to focus, that is A, which is equal to 1. Let us now identify first the two endpoints of the lattice rectum. Let us first identify the coordinates of the endpoint of the lattice rectum at the left, at this side. So, coming from here, we will move 2a. So 2a is actually 2 times 1, so 2 units. So from 0, 1, we will move 2 units to the left. So this will give us the coordinates of negative 2, and then the y coordinate remains 1. So this will be now the coordinates of our left endpoint ng latus rectum. Now, sa coordinate naman sa right side ng latus rectum or right endpoint ng latus rectum, we move again to A or 2 units. 0, 1, magdadagdag tayo ngayon ng 2 instead of magsosubtract ng 2 dahil ito kanina sa left. Ngayon naman, pagpunta sa right, positive. So magpa-plus. 0 plus 2, that is 2. So the coordinate now of this endpoint is 2, and again, retain 1. So these are now the 2 endpoints of the latus rectum. And by that, we can now construct the curve. Take note, yung curve natin wala dapat kanto. So curve siya. Let's say this one is our parabola that opens upward with focus at 0, 1. Now, how about our directrix? Let us now identify the equation of our directrix. So again, sabi natin, directrix is equidistant, or the distance between vertex and directrix is the same as the distance of vertex and focus. If the distance between vertex and focus is 1, therefore, the distance of vertex to directrix is also 1. Ang pagkakaiba lang, directrix is behind the curve. So we move 1 unit, that is A, sa baba ni vertex. So 1 unit. So this will be at negative 1 of our y-axis. So negative 1, kailangan siya ay perpendicular sa ating axis of symmetry. Support tayo ng line na straight line. And all we have to do is to make it a broken line. Kasi nga ito ay directrix. So therefore, the equation now of our directrix is y equals negative 1. So this is now the sketch of our parabola with the given standard equation of x squared equals 4y, with vertex at 0, 0 and opens upward with focus at 0, 1. And the 2 endpoints of the latus rectum, negative 2, 1 and 2, 1. And the equation of our directrix is negative y equals negative 1.